when things come as a surprise, it's the script, and how do you react to it when you read it? And I read this from cover to cover, and it was very nerve-jangling, spine-tingling action thriller. But more than that, it carried a sort of emotional charge that I was surprised by. You really care about Jack Ryan. He's a very particular kind of character in this genre of film. And so it was the combination of his distinctive qualities and the fact that the story I thought was extremely gripping. I enjoyed his paradox. He's the best and the brightest, a brilliant analytical mind, but a sort of reluctant CIA man. And in this origin story, you get the chance to see how someone who originally had joined the Marines had been sort of invalided out with a terrible helicopter crash and subsequent very, very serious back injury, quite where they go and what they do with their life, and whether they can find in themselves and for themselves another way to serve. And Jack Ryan does that, and this story allows us to see how that happens with a Jack who's quite vulnerable and contains those sort of regular guy qualities that make him very empathetic to us. I think he has a kind of decency which plays strongly and compellingly. He's not. I think, in this version, as some people might regard him as sort of ultra conservative hawk, if you like. He's a teacher of history and a very, very sophisticated analyst of world events. And so the chance to see a complex human being who is not a professional assassin, he's not come out of some kind of program, he's not having access to extremely sort of wacky, futuristic, high tech, but he's in the real world, making a contribution in a sometimes covert world, as close as this picture allows to, as it were, you and I. This kind of picture. So he's our representative. The not ordinary is the wrong word for Jack Ryan, but that regular and familiar human quality, I think, makes us feel this very personal connection with him. Chris Pine brings to it, a very, very handsome, sexy lad who's a real thinking actor as well. And you do need, if Jack's an analyst, you need to be interested in watching him as he looks at something and analyzes it. And we have that quality with Chris. And he's someone who, moment to moment in a scene, is very questioning in a positive way about what's real and truthful and accurate. In this origin story, it was important that we understood how potentially being in the CIA involved Jack's friends and family in being sometimes uncomfortably or dangerously integral to the job that he does. The pressure to share or not share, and the reaction of people who've been, they might think, betrayed or lied to, becomes a very interesting dynamic because it puts a human pressure back on Jack. So playing opposite him, Keira Knightley brings intelligence, she brings effortless beauty, she brings a real sense of the professionalism of Kathy as an equal. She's a professional eye doctor, as she puts it, great surgeon, and she was very good, Keira, at going back to find from the Tom Clancy lore everything that could be useful to making Kathy as full a figure as possible. I had a little support system there which I'd used previously, and it was nice to do it this time. So I felt that if with that in place, it would actually be wonderful fun to play this dark character. I never think of him as a villain. Of course he is, but you don't. He's a man called Viktor Cherevin, and he's a very powerful oligarch. He is very closely and highly connected in the upper reaches of the Russian government, and he is something of a maverick. And he, when invited to be part of a retaliation against the US when the Russians have been denied what they feel is their due at the United Nations, he then does something so awful, but he does so with a sense of sort of personal investment in it. He has a grudge against America. He has a personal tragedy that fuels this as well. And he has a sort of ruthlessness about how he will achieve his means. So this means everyone's a potential victim. So he's one of those contained fellows mostly, but one of those ones you wouldn't want to cross. It makes him a very interesting character to play.